everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be giving infusible ink another try. I'm going to make a shirt and a coaster with a brand new pack of infusible ink markers that have never been used before, just to give it another try. Previous attempts with infusible ink have not worked out for me, so I decided to use a brand new thing of markers that I've never used before, freshly opened, to see if I could get a better outcome, to see if maybe the infusible inks markers that I were given were dried up or used all the way. So we're going to test that out in this video. And at the end of the video, I'm going to compare a design with infusible ink and vinyl to see which one I like better.
Starts to roar, the lion that wakes the wave, but through it we are brave. Everyone is lonely sometimes, but I would walk 1,000 miles to see you rise. You are not alone, we are family. Hold me, let's escape all this reality.
So first off, we're just going to open up Design Space and we're going to work with the design that we're going to be using for the t-shirt and coaster. I have a few different designs here that I have saved for tumblers and projects that I'm going to be doing soon. But for now, I'm just going to pick out two of these designs, one for a coaster and one for a t-shirt, and we're going to start working with the designs to be able to use them with the infusible ink. Right now in the program, they're set up where they're designed to be cut out in vinyl, but we aren't using vinyl today, we're using infusible ink. So we have to do a little bit of editing these designs to get them to be able to be drawn out with the Cricut with the infusible ink markers. So first thing I have to do is I have to make them the size and everything that I want, pick out the colors that I want to use. I'm working with a pack of 5 markers, so I am limited on using the 5 different colors for the design. So I edited up the colors here to work with the markers that I have. And once I figure out what colors I want and the size I need the designs to be, I start switching over the designs to from cutout to drawn, as you will see me do here in this design space. So what I did was I made a circle the exact same size as the coaster, and I placed the design inside the circle, and so I can get it looking just the way I want on the coaster, the right size, positioned the way I want it. And then I go ahead and I delete the circle. So now that design is set to the right size that I need for this project. And I went over and I found a shirt template just to get the other design that I want the right size. So you just expand the design onto the shirt just to get it the right size, how big you want it. And once you get that done, I'm going to start working with the colors. The design, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to change every single word to the colors that I want. And what I did here with this design is I welded all of the words that are the same color together so that they will draw out in the positions that they're supposed to be drawn out in. That is to make it easier for this project to be printed out. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to weld all of the blue together first, and then I will work on the orange, the yellow, and the red, welding them all out so that they're all positioned properly when I go to make this project. This takes a little bit of time. It took me like a half an hour to customize these designs to work with the infusible ink. So you see here, I go in and I bring down the drop down menu that said cut and I changed it to pen. I'm changing it over to the color box. I'm changing it over to marker, and I'm going to look for the specific marker that I'm using for this project. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to do this for every color in the design. Just going to switch it from cut to pen. I'm going to switch it from fine point to marker, and I'm going to pick the color that I will be using so the Cricut knows what marker to ask for next when it goes to draw out the design. So once you've gotten this process down, it's pretty simple to do. It's just switching everything over to what you want the Cricut to do for you. And now you see when you switch it from cut to draw and you switch it to marker, you can see it's just an outline it's going to draw. After it's all printed out on the paper, I'll have to color in the inside of the design just to make it full color words. But the sky is the limit when it comes to designing things like this. Like you could do an outline of a color and then color inside a different color if you want, or you can make it like a granite uh, transition appearance where it transitioned from one color to another as you go down the letter. Like you can customize it the way that you want with the markers and the colors. So once you've gotten the whole design looking the way you want, and for this project, if I were to click make it like this, it would make it, it would scatter all of the different colors. It would separate all the different colors to print out or draw out separately. So what I need to do is I need to um, flatten the whole image so that it prints out just like this. So that I so that it prints out all together in this order. That way the design is on one piece of paper. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see, I'm going to show you right here. If I was to print it out just like that, see how it's all separated? That's not what I want. I don't want to print out each color on a different piece of paper. I want it all on one piece of paper. So what I do is I select all of it and type I click flatten, and that makes it all one. And I gotta make it a little bit smaller because it all has to fit on the piece of paper, and the program knows that. So I adjust the size there so that it works out. Once I get this design all ready to go, I am going to go over to the other design and do the exact same thing. I'm going to see how it's all together right there. That's exactly what I want. I want it all on one piece of paper together, just like that. So after I'm done with that design, I'm going to go and do the exact same thing on the other design, switch it all over from cut to pen, and switch it to from fine point to marker for each different color. And then I'm going to link the whole image together with the flatten so that it prints out on one little piece of paper all together. And then we can get and go ahead and get this printed out. I am going to fast forward through the last little bit because you guys already watched this process with the first design. Have everything all set up just the way I want. I'm going to hit the make it, and then I position it on the board the way that I want it to be printed out. I have to position both the designs on the Cricut board so that it will print it out just the way I want. As you can see me just moving it around. Then I don't forget to mirror it. With infusible ink, you need to mirror your design so it writes it out backwards. That way when you go and press it onto the shirt, it's the right way. If you do not mirror it and it prints it out properly, then when you go and place it on the shirt, it will be backwards on the shirt. So remember, when you're working with infusible ink, you need to mirror your design. So as you can see with how I set it up on the board in the program, I need to position a piece of paper for the top design and a little piece of paper in the corner for the bottom design for the coaster. So you can put more than one vinyl or a piece of paper on a Cricut board, and it will work out just fine. So I rolled it down to make sure it was really sticking there. So when it was drawing it, the paper didn't move around at all. So it's really stuck on there properly. And I'm going to put a little piece of paper in the corner so that the coaster design is on its own piece of paper. I do not have printer paper that's 30 by 30. So I just put a little piece of paper in the corner for the little design and a big piece of paper up on the top for the top design. here is the pack of infusible ink markers that I am using. They're neon colors. We have 5 different colors: yellow, green, pink, orange, and blue. So those are the colors that I'm going to be working with for this project. They're brand new markers, so we're going to give this a try and see how well it turns out when the project's all done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load the board up into the Cricut machine, and then I'm going to hit uh, a cut on the design space, and it's going to walk me through all of the different colors that I need. It will draw out the design in one color, and then it will ask me to switch the markers, and that's what I will do until the whole design is drawn out. Okay, I just want to show this really quick right now. If you go to Cricut/Heat Guide in your web browser, you can bring up the Cricut's Heat Guide, and it will help you with what temperatures and how long you need to heat things up to press stuff onto the material. You just click which uh, uh, iron on or heat press you're using, and you click material and what you're putting your heat transfer material and what you're putting it on, whether it be a t-shirt, a coaster, a tote bag, whatever, and you click and you hit enter, and it will show you how long you need to press it and what temperature it has to be pressed at, and it will walk you through the supplies you need, the preparation, and the actual pressing it onto your materials. It has everything there for you, and it even tells you how to care for the product once it's made. So if you're unsure of what heat transfer vinyl needs to be pressed on at, or what temperature you need for infusible ink, or whatever other project you might be working on, if you're not sure what temperature you need and what the steps are that you need to press it onto the material, you can go over to their Cricut's heat guide, and it will help you figure out what is the prep, supplies, and directions that you need, what temperature you need, how long you need to do the pressing for, the pressure, and everything. It'll walk you through everything step by step on what you need for that project that you're working on. So cricut/heatguide.com. I will put a link in the description of this video so it's easy for you to find it. Bookmark it. It's a great tool to have when you're working with your Cricut and doing multiple different kind of projects all of the time. It's often hard to remember what temperature you need it at, how long you need it at, because every project is different. So this is a great tool to have at your fingertips when you're creating different projects. So the next thing I needed to do is I needed to use heat transfer tape to press or to tape down the design on the coaster so it was in place, it didn't slide or anything around. Made that whole process easier having that all taped up and ready to go, and that way it won't mess your design up. And you need to um, heat the heat press up to 400 degrees, and you've got to press this down for 240 seconds. It is quite a long time for the coasters, so keep that in mind. So once it's been on there for 240 seconds, I'm just going to lift the heat press off the coaster, and I'm going to set that aside and let it cool off because it is very, very, very hot. And we are just going to let it cool off before we take the design off the coaster. So I set that aside and I start to work on the prep for the shirt. That is the next thing I am going to be working on. I'm going to put the shirt down. I am going to line it all up and get the design where I want it on the t-shirt, and then we will begin pressing that design on the t-shirt. Do not forget, when you are working with t-shirts and cloth items like that, you need to put a few pieces of printer paper or cardstock inside the shirt. That way that the design does not bleed through to the back of the t-shirt. You do not want that. If you don't have that cardstock in there or a few pieces of printer paper, it will bleed right through and you will see the design come out on the back of your shirt, and you do not want that. I am speeding up parts of this process, the printing out, the coloring it in, the ironing it on, because it's just sitting waiting for it to do what it's doing, counting down. So I sped it all up for you guys so that this video wasn't an hour long, just to make it so it's a quicker video for everybody to watch. Nobody wants to sit through and just wait for a timer to count down on a heat press machine while it's pressing on a design on the shirt. So I sped that up for you guys so that this whole video would be a lot quicker for everybody. So once I'm done pressing it down, you lift the parchment paper up and we are going to see the design on the shirt. So here's the coaster that I made living that spring break life, and it came out really nice, really vibrant. I really liked the finished product for the coaster with the infusible ink. It looks really nice. This set of infusible ink markers impressed me. I think the key was I needed a fresh batch of infusible ink markers. There's the shirt, a very awesome, very vibrant colors, awesome shirt for the summer. I picked a summer design for this project. And as I told you before, I'm going to compare infusible ink on a shirt with vinyl on a shirt, heat transfer vinyl. You let me know down in the comments which one you think is nicer. Do you prefer infusible ink on a shirt or heat transfer paper? Which one do you think is nicer? I personally love vinyl. It lasts a long, long time. It goes on shirts nice. Um, there's no risk of it being fading. There's no risk of the ink not showing up as much as I want because infusible ink or heat transfer vinyl is already very vibrant, easy to put on a shirt. There's no risk of it not looking the way I want it. Infusible ink is, to me, a guessing game of if it will turn out the way I want. But here is me trying out infusible ink again, and the colors really pop this time. You can see the colors really nice. It's not faded. Barely able to see like the previous projects I have done. I'm very happy with the outcome, and I really liked this design on vinyl as well. I really liked the coaster. Infusible ink on coasters is amazing. It turns out really, really well. There is my infusible ink review video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I will see everybody in the next video.